All right, we want to take you now to our exclusive story on KTN Weekend Prime tonight. The deputy of Burundi's former intelligence chief of staff and coup leader, General Godefroid Niyombare, is telling President Pierre Nkurunziza to prepare for war. General Leonard Ngendakumanda says he and his team have no intentions whatsoever of attending the East African Leaders Summit meeting in Dar es Salaam tomorrow to discuss the crisis in Burundi. What's more, the general says he has no apologies to make over the recent grenade attacks in the capital, Bujumbura, for which he takes full responsibility. He spoke exclusively to our very own special projects editor John Allen Namu a little earlier today in an exclusive interview.
So what was the problem? Why do you think that you needed to have organized a coup, and how did you organize it?
There was a need to organize that coup to make a change in the country because the situation was very bad, and we have noticed that Mr. Nkurunziza and his team were leading the country in a situation of civil war, and we could not accept that our population, our country, is led into a civil war.
But that didn't happen after May the 13th. What went wrong?
It is not because Nkurunziza and his team were stronger than us. I mean, it doesn't mean that within defense and security services, there are a small number of followers who understand our cause. But it has been a kind of misunderstanding.
Was this an overestimation of the amount of loyalty that you had both in the defense forces and in the police, the tools that you need to be able to take this coup? Because Pierre Nkurunziza was able to leave the country and come back safely and ostensibly rule. He's now a few days away from a general election, which by all indications, it looks like he's going to win.
We were 12 generals of national army and national police. Also, we had the Minister of Defense behind us. So we were sure of success despite that situation of betrayal of the Minister of Defense, who accepted money from the president, who called him. The Minister of Defense called the president when he was in Dar es Salaam, telling him that the coup was ongoing, and he negotiated money from the president. And when he got money, he gave counter orders, and that caused our failure.
Pierre Nkurunziza claims a lot of loyalty, and to the world outside of Burundi, it seems that way. If a man is able to come back from the brink of a coup and still hold elections, we've just concluded parliamentary elections in Burundi. In 10-11 days, there's going to be a presidential election. That looks like to the rest of the world that this man is in control of the army. He's in control of the police. How confident are you that this isn't the case?
How can you claim loyalty within defense and security forces when we have already 12 generals against you and a big number of colonels? Senior officers. And I can tell you that when we were organizing that coup, that team was organizers, and we knew that behind us there might be followers within defense and security forces.
Yes. General Niyombare has been fairly silent after the failed coup of 13th May. Where is he? Is he now the leader of the organization that would ostensibly like to go back into power?
Yeah,
where is he now?
Of course, he's in the country. We are together. We're still fighting.
Yes.
Yes.
He is in Burundi.
Of course.
There's a price on his head. It seems fairly unbelievable that he would be in the same country that he's being searched for.
No, it is not true, because I came from Burundi, I left him there, and I'm still getting orders from him.
All right.
Yes.
Tomorrow there are going to be discussions in Arusha with regard to what's happening in Burundi, trying to find an amicable solution as the date of the elections nears.
Yes.
Now we know that Pierre Nkurunziza and his government will not be attending those talks.
Yes.
Is General Niyombare sending any representatives? Are you going to be his representative at the talks, or are you done talking with the Nkurunziza government?
First, let's tell you one thing. Mr. Nkurunziza was absent in the last summit. And if he's absent in the next summit, tomorrow's summit, it doesn't surprise me, because I know what is going on in the country. It's a plan of Nkurunziza, but mainly a plan of Adolf Shimirimana. They are engaged in a war, in a civil war, and based on ethnic divisions. And they want to engage also the region in that civil war based on ethnics, because they want to start by breaking the constitution, by breaking the Arusha reconciliation and peace agreement, because they want to keep them on the top of the management of the country, fearing of being judged internally or externally, because they've done so many crimes. They've done so many crimes, economically, human rights violations, and then they are protecting themselves. They found tactics to move their members, ruling party members and some others behind them, and they are trying to move towards an open war, an open civil war, just to find a way to protect themselves. But others, they don't know that. They don't know that, and they are following.
But you're alive today, and the parliamentary,
fortunately.
Yes, and
Yes.
the parliamentary elections have just concluded, albeit with grenade attacks in different polling stations. Who was responsible for that?
After we saw that we could not succeed our coup on 13 May, we found it was necessary to keep fighting so that we can push Nkurunziza to think, to keep thinking about what he's doing, and maybe to see if he can just resign and say, I cannot continue moving for the third term. But when we saw that he's not in the way of stopping, we organized ourselves so that we can keep fighting him. That's why all those actions ongoing in the country, we are behind them, and our intention is to intensify them until that Peter Nkurunziza understand that we are there to make him understand by force that he has to give up his third term.
He doesn't look like he's going to give up that third term.
Yeah.
In fact, it's less than a fortnight away to that election. And you've said that you're going to intensify your efforts. What does that mean? Does that mean an open civil war in Burundi?
We are obliged because, you see, from the time Nkurunziza and his party said it is only Nkurunziza that will represent us in next presidential elections, protestations, there have been protestations in the streets, and then that was initiative of the population.
Pe ba sujet o ezali koloba mama lelo toyoki totali na bilili tomoni ndeko na biso.
There have been protestations, there have been protestations in the streets. And then that was initiative of the population. To make Nkurunziza understand that people don't want of his third term. And then, after there have been initiatives of region, African Union, United Nations, foreign countries, other organizations, they related to Bujumbura to tell Nkurunziza, please don't go, don't continue moving to that term because it's a problem for your society, for your community, for your country. But he refused. Third, you can see that the civil society, churches of Burundi, they did their best to advise Nkurunziza not to go for that term. He refused. So protesters, yes, instead of understanding their request, they've been killed, they've been massacred. So you can see what's next. The next is just to organize ourselves, just to resist, just to make Peter Nkurunziza understand that he must leave. Then we are preparing to do it by force, by organizing a military force.
Isn't there any other alternative to this? Because this is exact same reason why the Arusha talks took place all those years ago, that Burundi was able to emerge from that. Pierre Nkurunziza himself was called, I believe, that the negotiator, his nickname at that time at least. Isn't there any other alternative other than an open conflict in Burundi that could spill into years and years of conflict and deaths of hundreds of thousands of people?
On my point of view, I think Nkurunziza is not ready to negotiate with anybody because, there have been a mediator in Burundi from United Nations. He went back. There is a new mediator. He's doing nothing in Bujumbura because Nkurunziza and his followers, they refused to negotiate with the political parties, opposition, and others. They refused. So if they refuse to negotiate and they continue killing people, they continue doing what they want in the country, they violated the constitutions, they violated all laws in the country. So what next? What next?
Do you think that there's ever going to be a day that you will return without there being a price on your head as there is now?
I have to tell you that if you see me here, I'm only here for one purpose of this interview. Otherwise, I'm coming from Burundi. I let Godfrey Niyombare, Major General in Burundi. We are fighting within the country. We must be there, stay there until we succeed, until we reach our goal.
Until they succeed, until they reach their goal. That crisis in Burundi.
It is quite a crisis and seems to be ramping up, especially with just 10 days to go to that election. They do not seem to be wanting to take a backward step. Very worrying times indeed for our neighbors in Burundi. We hope, of course, for the most peaceful resolution to what is going on in that country.
And some very worrying statements from him there about what they're ready to do to ensure that Nkurunziza is no longer president. But we will continue to keep our eye on that issue and update you on what's happening in our neighboring country. But let's come